Liz is going to receive a 15-minute remote session that includes an energy reading and just some nice soothing energy. All right, let's get started. And so what I first do is just intend for her to be here. And so I can actually feel Liz's energy field here. Sacral energy center is about a few things. It's about partnerships, sometimes strategic partnerships, as in who are your go-tos for certain things. That stage is first developed when you are between 6 months and 2.5 years old. So it's really who's meeting your needs is what that's about. On your first round, we actually recycle it again later, where you have more heart-centered relationships, but that first one is only about strategic. Who's got my stuff?
It's kind of weird, and I'm on my way home. I was literally thinking about the dynamics in my extended family and how, as a kid, I always believed that everyone, like my mom's cousins, like extended family, like they were all really, like we were very close. And as I grew up, it's like they all became kind of distant and, almost estranged from each other. So it's interesting because I was literally just thinking about that not 15 minutes ago.
But in your left hand, I can feel you're holding energy in your left hand. When you're holding energy, it means that something just simply isn't resolved. You're working on something, or you're trying to ignore something, and that could be it too. But there's an energy holding. There's a holding pattern going on here in your left hand. So your hands are about anything that we physically do with our bodies, we also emotionally do. For example, if you're trying to get a grip on something, like maybe Liz just mentioned her sacral chakra, the go-tos and partnerships and relationships in her family. And her hand is also a hot spot. So these are two hot spots. Putting them together, it would make sense that since this is rising up right now, that maybe she's trying to get a grip on that whole concept. And that's why her hand is a hot spot also. So that's how we connect the dots with what's going on. Wow. All of a sudden this lit up. I didn't feel that so strongly on the first round, but now this feels like in my hands, it feels like sparklers or something similar to like putting your hand in the carbonated something. As soon as I put my hands there. So that would be, this is about grieving. As you have a lung meridian that starts about right there, and it goes all the way down to your thumb. And your lung meridian holds, it processes grief.
I can accept that. I mean, definitely things going on with there's a lot of grief and anger, related to my dad. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's right. You've mentioned that before. So. Yeah. Okay. That explains that. So it still just amazes me every single time.
Yeah, even like getting a grip on my strategic partnerships. I mean, I'm really networking heavy right now. I'm trying to build my tribe around my coaching business. And I've got, somewhere around 5 to 8 people that I'm starting to network with, and definitely trying to get a grip on all that and how it's going to, affect me and make me a better coach and help me grow my business, and, just all the insights that I can get from all these wonderful partners around me. So definitely, when you said get a grip on those relationships, that's the first thing that came to mind. Like, yeah,
okay,
I'm definitely in this space where I'm trying to get a handle on all of it.
Okay, and so here's the thing. You also mentioned your family.
Yes.
So it would be logical that we repeat patterns. So this is how your past trauma of childhood gets involved with your present life. So you're trying to build this community.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thing in your mind about community was how your family community changed. Like you were tight and then everything just seemed to, how did you say it? It dissipated or
Yeah.
okay, disintegrated. I'm not sure the word you use. So it would be logical for you to be expecting a repeat in that pattern. So the tribe that you're building now, you might hold back a little bit because you're expecting this pattern to repeat. So that's why it's a great idea to resolve these patterns and understand and find the divine benefit in what happened here. There's always a divine benefit that I don't think that we can any trauma that we have resolved, almost everybody goes back and says, I could say everybody, but I'm sure someone will challenge that. But I'll put it this way, any trauma that I have experienced, I look back at now as one of the best lessons I ever had. The worse the trauma, the better the lesson, and the better off I am as a result of that trauma in my life.
Yeah.
So there's some lessons. So we don't do therapy here. We just find stuff. We just drum it up. So yeah, this is definitely what?
It's so good to drum it up though.
Yeah, it seems like you drum up what you're ready for.
Yeah.
You're not going to drum up something that you're not ready for. And it's like, this is presenting right now. And it makes a lot of sense because you're trying to move on, but yet you got this thing here.
Yeah, I've got something keeping stuck.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's cool that we find it and we connect the dots. And it's like every single time I do this happens. So it just, I'll never get used to it. It's just the coolest thing ever. And I'm really looking forward to doing this once a week now. So now coming down your leg here. And I can definitely feel some activity here. It seems pretty steady through the whole. It might be a little stronger in the shin, but I'm actually looking for it to be stronger in the shin because the shins are about ideals. So an ideal is how you think things should be going and your perception of how they actually are going. And if there's energy holding there, you probably don't like the how they're balancing out. So things are supposed to be going this way and they're going this way and I don't like it is what I'm feeling here. That's on your right side. So that would mean that the way you're going about stuff, things should be working this way. Things should be in this sequence or things should be flowing this way. And they're not. And you don't understand why. You mentioned your father. That's the first thing that I thought of there. I don't know about you, but things shouldn't be the way they are. They should be going differently.
Yeah.
And that would make sense with what you said about your father, about his situation. But it wasn't the grief that I felt over there. And then again, and on the right side, the grieving it makes sense that, when you mentioned your father and being angry, because on the right side of your body, it's about the left brain stuff. So the processes and the order, the sequence, the logic of everything. And I guess it would make sense that you'd be very angry about the logic. There's no logic here of how things are going. Ankle, it's about receiving pleasure. And this is on the left side. So heartfelt pleasure, fun, enjoyment, joy. Huh?
Haven't had that in a year.
Because as you're talking, can feel it.
Yeah. So definitely I haven't had people in my life and it's actually been a little longer than that because, I went through a pretty deep depression for a while. So I've been kind of isolated for a couple of years now.
Okay.
ready to be
Yeah.
out.
There we go. Yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I can feel it even more. That the more you're talking about it, I can feel it. So I try
And the
to
more I talk about it, the more I
loosen it up.
recognize it,
Huh?
like, so the more I talk about it, the more I recognize it, like, just I
Uh
really
huh.
differentiate myself.
So your energy field doesn't lie. That's the thing. It does not lie. So you might think that you're okay and you're accepting it, but there's a part of you that just simply isn't, and that you're holding that energy. And another thing that you think about with your energy holding patterns is when the energy isn't flowing in this nice smooth orbit. I mean, think about any machine, and everything is flowing smoothly in that machine, and then you get a little notch on a cog, and that's when our energy, when we get into those holding patterns with our energy, it's like a little notch on the cog, and that's where the problems happen. But when you're holding energy like that, it makes that area vulnerable. So that's why you get a shoulder injury sometimes, but it's really that you're really mad about this. This, you're grieving and you're angry, and then it's one of those things where you end up saying, all I did was this, and it just went crazy. And this happened, and it's because it's vulnerable. Think about anything that is successful has a smooth flowing system. I mean, think about all the things that we count on when the sun comes up every day. That cycle. There's a lot counting on that cycle, and it's the same with our body. Every cell in our body has a cycle, and our whole body has a cycle. Our organs have cycles. Everything has a cycle, and the more consistent and steady we are, we're at the homeostasis place. And then, like a chemist in a chemistry, they taught us that's homeostasis, and then you get a disturbance, and everything goes haywire, and then it settles back into a new level of homeostasis, where everything is calm again, and that's our natural state. Believe it or not. That's our
Yeah.
natural state. And the sooner we upset that we get those smoothed out and let go and processed and dealt with, then we can get back to a rhythm again. When you're feeling on fire and there's nothing in your way, and you're feeling invincible, and all those great feelings, you only feel that way when your system is flowing. So we need to process this. The best way to process stuff is just to go identify the divine benefit of whatever trauma it was. And then it starts to dissipate and settle down. And then you can let it go. And then your energy starts flowing where it needs to be. And so you can get your badassery on. Okay. So thank you, Liz, for spending time here today.
Thank you,
And
Colin.
absolutely. And I hope that you're able to find some value and able to sort some things out. And for those of you watching, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate earning the pleasure of your time. If you would like a session, then you can message me at the link below and sign up for your session.